This is a story of how I became a Salesforce administrator. So let's start the story in about 2018. I was a senior transportation planner working at a company, and the vibe was like a corporate job. That's the kind of style I would fit in under. And I didn't fit in there. I had my own drive, and I taught myself how to code. So I eventually automated every manual job that they gave me. I was like, this is stupid. Why are we doing a manual job? Computers should do this. And they're like, just do it. And I'm like, wow, you're going to give me 8 hours to do it. Well, I'm going to spend 4, learn how to code, and then spend another other 4 writing the piece of code so that after this, I don't have to do this job anymore. I could just send it to a computer and then let the computer do it. That was amazing. Like I had a robot of little programs that whenever I had different job functions to do throughout the day, I would just bring up my little program, had a nice little GUI, little user interface. I would press a little button, enter some information, and then wait. It would go in and update. Oracle Siebel was their CRM at the time. But I had a habit of like automating work, and also I started automating other people's work, and I would make not only myself but them 5 to 10 times more productive. But I started to get reprimanded over and over again because I was taking away people's jobs, especially union workers. And it was just I couldn't thrive there. I wanted to automate everything. I wanted to make everything so efficient. But in a corporate place where things have been done the way they have been for the dawn of time, and that's how things are going to be done for the future. It's like there's no incentive to change, no incentive to do better. And that bugged me. I was like, why do you guys not want to improve, do better? Every process should be improved. And so I it was stressful because I just didn't fit in there. I spent the last 8 years stuck in a Groundhog's Day nightmare. Everything from the commute, the lack of career opportunities, and the depression. It was taking a toll on my mind. And the worst part was really, it was like, I couldn't, you could dismiss it, but I couldn't dismiss the pain in my body. That was like the real factor of like why I couldn't just ignore this for another year, for another month, for another day. I had this sharp, piercing pain in my stomach every single day. The way I would describe it is if someone's trying to stab you, like slowly, that's like the feeling that I had every single day for 8 years. One day, I couldn't take it anymore. The stress was so much, and after a meeting, I just went up to my boss one day and just put in my 2 week notice. I had no savings, no backup plan. I didn't have another job offer. All I knew was that I had to get myself out of there. My health was the only thing that I was like, I can't ignore this. And for the sake of my health, I have to leave. And so I got out. The next couple months were rough. I moved back home where I would try many, many different side hustles, but none of them would get traction. And then one day, I read an article that said Salesforce administrators make 6 figures. Now, back at the corporate job, they were using Oracle Siebel, which was like a predecessor to Salesforce before. And I had wrote all my code to automate all the data entry for Siebel. And then at the end of my career, when they transitioned from Oracle Siebel to Salesforce. And so I had to rewrite all my code from Siebel and translate them into Salesforce. And this was before I knew about flows and like all the automation that's actually in Salesforce. I was doing a whole nother level of like automation. And so I was like, wait a minute. Okay. I have some experience in Salesforce. Maybe I can leverage that to try this out as a career because honestly, nothing else was working. I was just treading. um, and so I knew that I had to like make this jump. I set a deadline for 2 months. And I said, just lock myself in a room. And for the next 2 months, I did nothing but study for that Salesforce Administrator exam. Um, I failed. That is a gnar. Those tests are gnar because they test you on like business like scenarios, and it's real fun. Like now, I love the questions, but like before, I was like, this is overwhelming, and I failed the first time, and so I took it the second time, and I passed. Got my admin certification, and then I would spend the next like month just doing nothing but studying, building, volunteering. I started my own consultancy because I was like, well, no one wants to hire me because I don't have job experience. So I was like, well, screw it. I'll just make a website, and then just start consulting. And so I started consulting for a little while, just doing freelance jobs, free jobs for nonprofits and small jobs. And so eventually I got an interview, and I negotiated an offer for six figures. Now, at that time, at when I was working the previous job as senior transportation planner, the most I could make was, or most I was making was 70K. And I knew that my career had a cap of like maybe 100K. Like I could work for the next 10 years and I wouldn't break 100K there. It was, I was like, they have what's called the golden handcuffs, and it's such a stupid process. It wasn't a meritocracy, it was based on tenure, and I hated that. So that first job was terrifying. I'll be completely honest. I was so out of my water and so out of my experience. Be moving into a startup for the first time, as like coming from a company that you have processes, you have systems, you have roles, you have hierarchy, um, you have a hierarchy of command, whatever. In a startup, there's none of that. There's no processes, there's no owners of tasks. You're literally building the plane as you're flying, and that thing is moving fast. So I was like, if I'm going to survive in this career, I need to do everything I can to learn and skill and just like level up my skills. Um, so I just put my head down again for the next 2 years and did everything I can to know everything about Salesforce, because in that career it wasn't just about Salesforce and just doing Salesforce jobs. In order for you to move up, you have to expand your skill set. So in order to get from where I was to the senior level, you there's a huge skill gap that you have to close. You have to close that gap in skill sets such as maintaining complex environments, project management, and how to deliver value to all departments, software development, communication, soft skills, leadership, how to manage a team, coding, integration skills with all third-party software developer or or third-party software that integrates with Salesforce, budgeting and operational duties, and so much more. Um, and so like today where I'm at is like I have those skill sets, I have those understanding, um, and I have the confidence to like work with, like I love my job so much that I get to like make people's lives better using technology. And that's like my purpose. That's like if I could do anything, is like just make people's lives better, easier. And I found that like using technology, I've always been able to like exponentially outperform the results. Because if you try and do something manual, whatever, or try a solution that has some manual element to it, you're not getting much of an improvement. But if you write a software program that executes that process or job 100 times faster than a human can, that to me is like God powers. Like this business has this process and it's manual and it's time intensive and it's costly to their bottom line. And I could come in, write a computer program and automate that entire workflow and free up that personnel resource so that they can allocate that to somewhere else in the company. So that person's not doing manual labor, what I was doing. I hate manual labor. That's why I got into Salesforce. I was like, computers should do everything by my age. Like I was like, why aren't computers doing my job by now? And they're like, well, not many people know how to coding. Well, I was like, that's stupid. So got an Arduino, had a project, taught myself how to code. And then after that, I never went back. Everything now I'm thinking about, how can I write code to automate this? How can I find some software program to do 5, 10, 100x productivity of like output? It's insane. Like when you introduce computers, it's cheating because it's like a whole nother, like you can't compete. um, yeah. So the real joy for me is like finding inefficiencies in the business and turning them into profit centers, leveraging automation, standard operating procedures. I just really love helping companies get more organized at the end of the day. And Salesforce is a great tool to help them organize their sales data, for example. And I'm eternally grateful for Salesforce. Salesforce not only changed my life, but also changed my career, and then really changed my brain when you think about it. Like I see the world full of possibilities, opportunities, and new beliefs. and I have an amazing set of skill sets that I'm able to like pull and like leverage and use. It's been a complete blessing. Is the best way I could describe getting into the Salesforce career, and it's been very fast paced, but very rewarding, and I love it. And I share this story for those of you who are curious about getting started in the Salesforce ecosystem. I provided a checklist down in the description where you could go to get started to learn how you could get started in a Salesforce career. The Salesforce world is very vast. You could do project management. You don't have to do coding. There's so much opportunities to go in. You could be a developer. You could do code full stack applications in Salesforce. It's a full development platform. And the great thing about Salesforce when compared to any other software is that it teaches you how to be a developer and without coding, if that kind of makes sense. Like I learned through all those certifications and that Salesforce offers. That's free education in technology, in data management, and system process design. Like you're designing and building applications for a business. Like it is an amazing superpower that like I like it's not just Salesforce, but it's that's why I think is like the most valuable skill set that you can have for the next 5-10 years is learning to code or getting into some STEM career, science, technology, engineering. I think the last one's math. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, that it's completely changed my world. Also, I want to share like if you've never coded before and you find coding intimidating, highly recommend looking at Arduino. Arduino. It's a little circuit board, and I used to teach workshops at makerspaces to introduce kids and adults into coding and rapid prototyping and 3D printing and just like how to turn your ideas into reality. And I would introduce Arduino to them because I found some students will learn it and then gravitate either towards the coding or they'll gravitate towards the like building of the circuits and designs, the mechanical aspect of it. So it's very easy for me to watch them get like when they build something, write a piece of code and it turns and flashes like an LED and they're like, my code is now turned what? Like that aha moment. Like that's what I love about teaching. And I love sparking that spark of fire and curiosity and education and learning in people around me. I love that. It's so addictive because it's like I love new neuron connections. But yeah, I just wanted to share this story because for those people who are looking to get into Salesforce career, what does it look like someone who's been in the career for a number of years, both consulting, both working for startups as an administrator, senior administrator, and the role title is really you're because as a senior you're going to do everything from BA to coding, architecting, or developing, implementing, training. Like you're going to be doing everything, and I think it's an amazing skill set to learn, and it'll carry with you for your rest of your life, your career. It's been just a blessing. And I want to leave you with just one message. If I can do it, so can you. I believe in you. And I hope that you get started today if this is something that you're interested in. In the description below are some resources to help get you started. I'm Jonathan Acuna. Stay blessed.